they didn't flow in well to the rest of the line.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we certainly thank you for casting your vote. Don't even live in Georgia, and I am all over this election, guys. We are out canvassing. We are out telling everybody and anybody to get out there. And if you want to see us again, let us know. Hit us up at 833-771-0500. We got canvassers out all across Georgia. NACA has over 400,000 members just in Georgia alone for the state of Georgia. So we have an opportunity to make some heavy impact in this election. On top of that, I'll be back in Georgia on December 6th. Well, actually the day before election day, which is December 5th, and then the 6th. So on the 6th, we are going to make sure we are at every poll encouraging people and thanking people for their vote. But we're going to do everything we can to get people out and voting. And someone said, who do you want us to vote for? Who do you don't want us to vote for? We just want you to vote to make sure that you have access and have a say and have a voice in this election process. Democracy is at stake, and we want to make sure you are a part of this historic moment. As there's a lot of things, policies rule the nation. Everything around us, from you stopping at a red light to getting your driver's license, to healthcare, to police protection, safety, housing, affordable housing, interest rates, everything surrounds policy, and putting the right people hey, Leela Nelson, how are you? Putting the right people in place is always key to the success. That's always critical. But, it's just one of those things that we got to continue to keep everybody alive and keep everybody active and keep everybody alert and energized of wanting to get that vote out. So thank you for your vote, Damien. And you're muted again. What's happening over there? And hello, Dana. I see Dana. Good afternoon, Dana. I know we got somebody great today. Who do we have as our...
Welcome back. Tammy from the hand department, the director who tells us how it is.
All right, Tammy. How are you, Tammy Johnson?
Hi, everyone. I'm great. Thank you for inviting me. I hope everyone had a good Thanksgiving.
We had a great one, and I hope you did too, with your family that is growing. How was that?
Always. Good. Love those grandbabies.
I know. I love it. I love you guys. You can't believe it by looking at her, but she is a grandma, and she is a proud one. So it's always nice to have the family grow and see all the things that the kids say. Oh, you never let us do that. You never let us do that. They get away with everything. It's like, yeah.
We had Thanksgiving dinner at my daughter's house in her new NACA home. So keep it in the family. Got a NACA member. So
all right.
Very exciting. She was happy to throw her first dinner in her new house.
I love it. She should be proud. I love it. Awesome. Well, we've been waiting for you to come back because we have, hi, Rochelle. I love it. Rochelle Frederick is out there. Hi, Charlene. I'm giving all you guys some thumbs up and hearts out there. If I could do it right now, I would do it. So I'm just snapping because I want to acknowledge the love. And I'm so happy that you guys are out there. We have our hand department that is here, and that's our home and neighborhood development area. So we love this because hand is the focal point for when I'm out there and I'm finding that dream home and it needs a few repairs, and I want to know, how can NACA assist me in getting those repairs? Not repairs on a house that I already live in and I just want NACA to help me with the funding of a rehab. But I have gotten approved. I've been qualified. I'm out searching for my home, and the home that I found is in need of a few repairs. How can I make sure that those repairs are done before I move into the home?
So I've got an announcement in regards to what you're saying, because I just heard for purchase only, but NACA is now doing purchase refinances. Rehab refinances. So let's talk about this.
Yes, let's talk
So
about
it's the same for both, but we've just added a refinance option for rehab only purposes. So I'm really glad about being on the radio show today to get this out there. What we are doing is we are looking at properties that are in need of a lot of repair, but the homeowner, due to low income, credit issues, the same types of challenges people come to for our purchase product, they can come to NACA for rehabilitation purposes. Now, we're not doing refinances for any other reason, but if you have a home that you own and occupy, you have to show ownership and occupancy for the last 3 years. The policies that relate to the criteria for counseling are the same. You got to start the program by going to Home Buyer Workshop. You've got to work with the counselor to get qualified for a payment that you can afford. And once you're officially qualified, then you'll get an inspection on the property that you own and work with hand to determine exactly what repairs are going to be done. Now, the requirements are the same: code, safety, health, structural, mechanical. All of those items have to be done in order for the property to be eligible for the refinance. And if there is room within the qualification, we could look at some other wish list type repairs. So this is going to help a lot of homeowners out there that have owned their property and maybe they couldn't afford to take care of it over the years. Maybe they inherited it and it's just not been kept up. But this refinance product that offers the rehab process, we're very excited about it, and we're looking forward to our first refinance rehab. Now, if you're purchasing a home and you are out there in the market looking for a property that is in need of repair, if you buy a pre-existing property with NACA, what's going to happen is that property has to be inspected. It'll go through the Home and Neighborhood Development team, the hand department. We're going to identify that the property doesn't have any code, safety, health, but just like you had to be counseled for a payment you can afford. That property has to be assessed and evaluated to see how that fits within your affordability. And if repairs are required, that property can only be approved if those repairs are addressed. If the seller is not willing to do the repairs in the negotiation of the contract, then you could potentially look at a rehab option to add those to a rehab escrow and take care of those repairs as part of a rehab transaction when the loan closes. If it's within your qualification, it doesn't exceed max loan to value, meaning the final loan amount doesn't go over 110% of the appraised value, and it's within max acquisition cost for where the property is located. So I know I just said a lot, Anjanette, but the rehab refinance is an exciting new product out there, and both apply. Hand is going to review the property, make sure it fits within the member's affordability, and from there determine if we can move forward with that property in a purchase or refinance option.
Tammy, you said more than a lot. You said some breaking news. That is what we consider breaking news. We need to put breaking news across the screen right now because that is breaking news. Already, though, you have a question, but before I ask that question, I know that Damien has one.
I have 20 over here. My mind is I have about 20 questions. First of all, when does this start?
It's already underway.
It's already underway.
It's officially effective right now. Anyone that's interested in a refinance rehab can come in and start the program. But again, you have to go through the Home Buyer Workshop. You got to let them know you're there for refinance purposes. Your counseling process is the same. You're going to go through the exact same counseling process. What's nice about a rehab refinance is we already know what house you're going to buy. So in your counseling process, we're working towards what you can afford and understanding what that will vet out to on a mortgage payment, a new mortgage payment. Maybe you have an existing mortgage. We're going to refinance that existing mortgage and then add costs for repairs. Or you don't have a loan on there. There's no mortgage. Maybe you inherited it and now you're just refinancing for renovations. Now, renovations will be limited on a refinance rehab. We will limit wish list repairs to necessity, and just like purchase, it has to meet the household needs. If you are a single person living in a 3-bedroom house and you want to do room addition to add a bedroom, we're going to ask why. Why are you adding a bedroom when you're a single person in a 3-bedroom house? The house is sufficient for your household size. If you're a household of 6 and it's a 2-bedroom, then maybe a room addition makes sense. So we're going to be very strict about what you can roll in, because our goal is not to just do refinance rehabs on these properties, but to make sure that the payment fits. It's got to fit within the affordability. And if you're not paying a mortgage and you're not saving the difference on a payment shock, so it's 100% payment shock, you may not qualify right away for what you're looking for. But go to Home Buyer Workshop, they'll talk about that. And it's effective now. We're doing them now.
Now, is there, okay, so they do have to go to the Home Buying Workshop. Is there a maximum or a minimum loan amount? And are you able to do the same thing with the other, where you buy the interest rate down? You know, we get 1% below the national average and then buy it down from there, and how much?
The terms are exactly the same as a purchase transaction, Damien.
Oh, wait.
Easy. That's amazing.
In some instances, we're even recommending going with the 20-year note on the refinance, because the interest rate is equal to the 30-year note, or a little less than. We noticed last week that happening. So you don't even have to get wrapped up in a 30-year mortgage for the same great opportunities, and your buy down is better on a 20-year. So I would encourage everyone to talk to their counselors about that. If you're refinancing an existing loan and you've already been in the house 10 years, you want to go with that 20-year note. You're just sticking with the same 30-year term and not adding an additional time. And it will help. We also do the 15-year on the refinance product as well.
That is amazing. Now, Tammy, you do have some questions coming in. And Movetta, I saw you, girl. There's Queen Movetta. She always comes through for us. It is so good to see you. Happy holidays to you, Movetta. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. We love seeing you out there.
And I do have one caveat. I'm sorry. You cannot refinance a NACA loan for refinance rehab. NACA loans are not refinanced, are not a refinance option.
Okay.
You understand? So if you have a NACA loan and you want to come back to refinance for rehab, we're not refinancing NACA loans, because those were great mortgages anyways.
They're already low. Yeah. So basically, yeah, they're basically already the lowest anyway. So, okay, 2 questions here. One on the refinance. And this is actually coming from 281. That's Houston, Texas. And I'm always throwing some hearts up for Houston. Houston is asking, I already have a mortgage and it's unaffordable in my opinion. Can I get it refinanced?
We are not doing refinances for any other reason than major renovation needs. Think about this.
Question. Okay.
Mama, grandma, auntie, uncle, they've been living in this home for 25, 30 years. They really haven't had a mortgage on it, or they've been raising up their families and they just haven't had the capacity to get a refinance because of their credit, or an affordable refinance option didn't exist out in the market. These are for hardship situations where the home needs major repair. So refinance eligibility is going to be looked at not because you have an unaffordable mortgage. If you got this mortgage in the last probably 5 years, you probably have an affordable mortgage. The interest rate's probably sound. If you have what you believe is an unaffordable mortgage, I would recommend you go to MAP and they can look at other options for you. But we're only doing this refinance product for rehab purposes where the home is in need of major repairs. Okay.
Rehab purposes where the home is in need of major repair.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
That takes care of 2 other questions I just got. So 610 and 602. I hope that answered your question. And then I got another one from 213. 213 is saying, going to move into Mimo. Okay, Mimo. I know what that is. Unfortunately,
we all do.
Going to move into Mimo's house. Still in her name. She's no longer here. Sounds like she has this 612 has complete control of the property, but they need some rehab work done on it to make it more habitable.
Number one, you have to have ownership interest in the property. If you don't legally own the property, we cannot look at that for refinance
Doesn't
purposes.
Sound like you do.
So if you inherited the property and it's gone through the trust and everything is resolved and you can show you're the legal owner, then you can possibly be eligible for the refinance rehab option. But if you do not have legal ownership interest in it, you literally can't refinance what you don't own. And you may be looking at purchasing it from the person that has legal ownership of the property and use the purchase product in lieu of the refinance. But if you do have legal interest and you can show that you're legally the owner now that your grandmother has passed, we should be able to do a refinance option if it needs major repairs. So again, I would go through the home buyer workshop and I would bring a list of questions to address those during the workshop so that they can guide you on whether or not your property would be eligible for the refinance option, but maybe it'll be eligible for the purchase option if you know who the legal owner is and they're willing to sell it to you. That would be the other option.
Oh my gosh, Anjanette, this is going to be so perfect for rural America, small town, little bitty town, and they got great grandmama's house. And I've heard of stories where people inherited great grandmama's house, but because there was so much repairs, they moved out of there, rented an apartment, and got this big old house that they can't afford. No, they still have it. They can't afford to fix it, so they're living in an apartment. This is the answer. Oh my gosh, I just got goosebumps over
this. Is going to change some of the areas of the country that have really been ignored by the mortgage industry. Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, some of these rural,
some of Texas even.
Absolutely, where folks did leave their properties to their children and the family members or friends, and because the home just sat and no one took care of it over the years, they have ownership interest in a property. They really like to live in it, but no one's willing to do a rehab refinance. They're just very rare to find in the market. We have this now, and we're going to be able to change a lot of these communities and give them options they never had before. So we're very excited about the product.
All right, Tammy, I got a couple of questions that I definitely want to ask from the phone lines, 833-771-0500. You guys are loving this. Tammy came early with these Christmas gifts, y'all. So we're going to keep the gifts. I'm serious here. We may have to do a part 2 on this one. So keep the lines. The lines are open. Keep the questions coming, but I'm going to toggle back and forth. Tammy, Aline Marriott, I hope I said your name correctly. Hello, love. She's saying, I did all the workshop. No one contacted me, please. And so we congratulate you for becoming a NACA member and going to the workshop. And someone does need to contact you, but please, if they have not contacted you already, go ahead on and reach out to them. You can do that, Aline, by going to 425-602-6222. Do not delay. Do it today. Contact member services at 425-602-6222 and get to them because they will be able to better assist you on your next steps. I'm going to repeat that number again, 425-602-6222. All right. That is our member services number. Anybody out there who think they're sitting there waiting for a call back or have questions that need to be answered that are not pertaining to this show or even after this show, and you want those questions answered, that is your go-to number. That's my go-to number when I'm in a pinch and I'm out there and I'm like, wait a minute, let me try to get this person. And I'll call 425-602-6222. Let that be your go-to channel, okay? So give them a call. Let them know you are ready to talk with your counselor and you need to understand what is next after the workshop. All right, Aline? Thurman. Let me get to Thurman. NACA is good. I waited a year and couldn't get through underwriting. Oh my goodness. I am so sorry to hear that. Thurman, if we are able to assist you any further, please give us a call. Okay. It's good to see that. It looks like you became a homeowner. So congratulations.
That's wonderful. Hey, there's one here, Anjanette, from Richard Streetman. I'd really like to address this one.
Absolutely.
I'm going to put my underwriter hat on in my former life. So you are looking to use NACA, but you're also reviewing a traditional FHA mortgage. And you want to know if the $20,000 down payment you've saved means you can skip the 6 months saving. Let me tell you. Anyone that comes to the program, everyone has to go through the same process. I love that you have $20,000 to put into your home, but the savings requirement isn't because your minimum required funds will help you buy right? The savings requirement is to show what you can afford every month. So what I would say is, maybe does having $20,000 saved for a down payment mean you can skip saving for 6 months? There's no 6 months requirement in our underwriting guidelines. This is what the savings requirement is for. We have a payment shock savings requirement that is the difference in what you pay in rent and what you're going to pay for your future mortgage payment. So if you pay $1,000 a month in rent right now, or zero, maybe you live with mom or dad, or whatever the case may be, your future mortgage payment that you want to qualify for, let's say it's $2,000 a month, you have to save a minimum of the payment shock between your rent and your future mortgage payment for a minimum of 3 months to show that you can even afford a $2,000 payment, because we want you to feel that $2,000 payment before you're contractually obligated for the next 15, 20, or 30 years. So the savings requirement is based on your savings pattern. Now, if you've been saving money because you built up $20,000 for a down payment, you may have already met your payment shock requirement and there's no savings requirement. You're going to qualify for rent plus your average monthly savings. And we look at the last 3 months and every month until you close. So I hope that answers your question, Richard. You're going to save a lot of money by going through NACA, because with our lender grant, they cover the closing cost. It's 100% financing, so you can negotiate the best terms with the seller. And if you want to use that $20,000, you can buy down the interest rate to get to even more affordable, or you can put it towards principal reduction or repairs, or not use it at all and keep it in your savings account when you close. So I would encourage you to start the program and see where you land. But if you really want to know what your savings pattern is, look at all of your bank accounts and look at the start balance and the end balance for every month for the last 3 months. Add those up, divided by 3, and that's your monthly savings pattern, where you look at all bank accounts, not just one. We got members that are saving in a savings account over here, but they're taking money out of a checking and putting it over there. You're not really saving, you're money laundering your own money into the savings account. So it's really important you look at all bank accounts the way we will, and you can get an idea of what your average savings are. And if that's equal to your rent plus what you want your future mortgage payment, you're fine. You don't have to save for 6 months or 3 months. You might be ready to qualify right away if all credit, income, assets match up per the underwriting guidelines and the qualification criteria. So I hope that helps you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. That was a good one, Tammy. And Mo Betta had a question about the mold, and I have another call, 773, had a question about mold as well. So it sounds like we have homes out there that people are living in, need some work done, and it's really expensive to fully do mold remediation work, especially depending on the level of remediation mold work that is needed. If that is the case, will this rehab be one of the could they still qualify under this?
Absolutely. We look at all types of code, safety, and health defects. Mold is a safety and health defect. Yes, so what you'll have to do once you're qualified is you would need to identify licensed professionals to go into the property. One, we're going to need a full inspection, just like a purchase transaction, a full inspection, and then we'll have licensed professionals go out and do additional evaluations on things like mold, structural, mechanical defects, so that you can get a full extent of what really needs to be done. You can get a repair quote or a full work write-up depending on the extent of the damages and the renovations, and then Han will look at that to determine what the maximum rehab cost is going to be, the estimated cost of repairs, contingency. We're going to probably collect anywhere from a 10 to 20% contingency plus draw inspection fees. So once you close and you hire a contractor that Han approves and we start doing inspections to make payments, we got to have money there to pay the inspector on that. The lender will pay for the first $600, anything above and beyond that. So Han is going to be working with the member, whether it's a purchase or a refinance, to determine what the total estimated cost for repairs are, include a contingency, inspection fees. There is a Han fee that is attached to administer the rehab after it closes. And that final cost will be assessed to see if it's within your affordability. We have appraisals to determine if you're purchasing the property. The purchase price plus the cost of rehab cannot exceed 110% of the appraised value. If you're refinancing, the final loan amount will be any mortgages that we're refinancing plus the cost of repairs, and then that will determine what the property will value at. But both transaction types, purchase or refinance, cannot exceed 110%. And if that fits within your qualification and max acquisition limits, we're on. We got a rehab, and we'll be working with you after the loan closes so that you can look for contractors to bid out the project. Remember, you've got to find the contractors. We will register them. They've got to have license, insurance, tax identification. We got to be able to verify them with the IRS so that the lender can pay them. The lender holds the money and hand disperses that money based on inspection showing completion of work. So we can do that regardless of, we can do most renovations. Hand has the discretion to decline something that is extensive, that will take more than 12 months. We don't do, luxury renovations. So you're not putting in a pool, you're not putting in a tennis court. We're trying to do what makes the home livable and safe with an affordable mortgage payment. You'll have 30 years. If this is going to be your owner occupied lifetime home, you have plenty of time to do the luxury things as you go. We're just making sure that the home is livable, safe, and within your qualification limits so you can afford that payment for the years to come.
Absolutely. And Alvedo, there was a question out there asking what number should they call again to get the status of their file. I'm going to repeat that number for you guys. That number is 425-602-6222. That's 425-602-62222. That is basically 425-602 NACA. So for those of you who don't know, 425-602 NACA, give us a call, especially if you want to know the status of your file or trying to reach your counselor or any questions you have about your about going through this NACA process. I want to tackle Kevin Brown's question. He asked the question, I want to be clear, he says, those who own the home that's paid for yet require major repairs are not qualified. Is that correct?
The word is eligible. You are eligible to look to see if you can qualify for a refinance if you own the home and it needs major repairs. So it could be eligible. Qualified means you've gone through counseling and are qualified for a payment you can afford. Right now, I think your question is would you be eligible if you own the home, even if it's paid for and it needs major repairs? That meets eligibility requirements. Go to a home buyer workshop and start the process. Let's see if we can get you qualified.
So Tammy, let's talk about that process of being eligible. Eligible is saying, basically, I own the home. I need repairs done to the home. I'm at the point now where I can't afford those repairs. NACA is saying that they have funding to help me refinance or help me do a rehab to get the repairs. Walk me through how to get qualified then, because if I'm going to the workshop, I'm there for rehab, and then what happens? Do I get assigned a counselor or do I go straight to hand?
No, you're going to go through counseling just like anyone else. Let's be very clear. Purchase and refinance has the same qualification criteria. Mm-hmm. You must go to a home buyer workshop. You must start the counseling process with a NACA counselor, and they're going to work through the counseling on a payment that you can afford. You've got to show an income to pay this payment. This is going to be a new mortgage. You're refinancing or purchasing, it's a mortgage. So you got to show that you have the capacity to pay. We're going to be looking at your on-time payment history, any rental income if you're purchasing, or your mortgage payment history if you are already an owner and have an existing mortgage. If it's paid in full, then we're looking at your savings history. If you own the home and there's no mortgage, then you're not making a monthly payment, right? So we're going to be looking at your savings pattern. If you don't have a savings pattern, you may not qualify for the payment that you need to qualify for a mortgage with a rehab. Your counselor needs to counsel you on that and help you get to the place where you can show savings to be able to qualify. So everyone goes through counseling for the same thing, a payment that they can prove they can afford, and that's rent plus monthly savings or mortgage plus monthly savings. If you don't pay rent, you don't pay mortgage, then we're only looking at what you save consistently every month. And we're going to look at the most recent 3 to 6 months to see how that factors into what you can afford. If you're not saving right now, start doing it before you start the process to start building up your monthly average. It might take you a couple of months to build up an average if you don't have a mortgage payment, but we've got to show that you can afford this payment. How do we show you can afford a payment? You're proving it to us in your savings pattern and your income, in your housing payment. If you don't have the housing payment, then it's all payment shock. And you really need to start saving. And it's going to be tough to do around the holidays. So be mindful that all the money you're spending during the holidays, that's going to impact your savings pattern. But starting early is great. But if you need to wait until January, you're going to be looking at least a 3 to 4 month timeline to build up that savings pattern. I hope that helps.
Absolutely.
Tammy, I do have a couple of questions now that you've said that. Now, will it still apply? Say, are you able to get family to donate money to now help with buying the interest rate down? If there's a grant that maybe possibly a rehab grant to work in conjunction with what we're doing to help them have more, is that still possible too?
That's a good question, Damien. The same guidelines for purchase would apply for refinance when it comes to gifts, buy down, grants. So if there's a grant out there that we can help with the renovation cost, we'll look at those options. And what's great about a refinance is a lot of grants to renovate don't apply to anyone that doesn't own the home. So if you already own the home, we'll already have that grant pre-approved up in advance before we know what we need to add into a rehab escrow. In regards to gifts, you can use gift funds to buy down your interest rate. You cannot use gift funds for your payment shock savings. That has to come out of your own income coming in and your own savings pattern. You got to show that you can afford this payment for the next 15, 20, or 30 years. No one's giving me a gift for 15 or 20, 30 years to make my mortgage payment. And we'll assume that's the same for all of our members. So it's very important that you go to the counseling and that you get counsel for the payment that you can show you can be approved for, so that we can understand how that formulates into the max loan amount for a refinance rehab and or a purchase rehab.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Mobetta is out there. She's showing us some love, guys. Keep them coming, Mobetta. She said, I have a question. If I got qualified and didn't find a home in the 6-month period, do I have to start the whole process over?
6-month period just means you need to update your documents, right? And are you still qualified? Maybe you paid some debt off and you can qualify for more. Maybe you went and bought a car for a garage you don't have yet and you qualify for less. Yeah. So we want you to get your qualification updated, but you're still qualified. You don't have to start all over. Just schedule an appointment with your counselor. Make sure all of your documents are uploaded so that they can do a secondary review and see if you're still at your qualification amount. Maybe it improves, maybe it doesn't, maybe it goes down a little bit, and you can work through what you need to do to get it back up to where you were.
Now, one caveat to that, I would not wait till the 6 month to do that because you don't know what their schedule is. So about 4.5 to 5, I would start looking to get on their calendar when you know you're almost up, because you don't know what their schedule is like.
That's very good advice. And you can always cancel the appointment if you find a house between 4 months and 6 months, right? But getting that appointment can sometimes be challenging depending on where you are. So scheduling that appointment about 4 months out and keeping your documents updated, it keeps you sort of in that protection area. So you're not finding yourself out in the cold on month 7 and you can't go back through. So definitely good advice, Damien.
Absolutely. And Mizo Z is saying, does NACA help people in Southern California or other than LA? And the answer is absolutely. We are nationwide.
Yes, sir.
We are truly nationwide, Mizo. I want to tackle Barbara Mendez. Barbara, I want to tackle your question, not tackle you, but tackle your question, Barbara, because it's a good one. And I want to make sure we truly are answering even the tough questions and giving you what you need to succeed. Barbara is saying, I want to know why, if I'm having issues with my application, why can't I get a counselor appointment? Nor can I go into a location to speak with someone. And that is totally not true. I want to make sure you know that you are always welcome into any one of our NACA offices. I want you to go to our website at www.naca.com and look at our locations. Find the office that is closest to you, and you are our offices, we are fully back in the office with staff, and our admins are there with smiles waiting to greet you. If you're calling member services and you're not getting what you need there and you feel the need to go into the office, you certainly can. We want to assist you. We do have our new state-of-the-art member portal that is available to you to help you get all of your documents, everything that you need to get submitted for file review done. But if there are some roadblocks that are stopping you from getting your counseling appointment, definitely give us a call and let them know, hey, look, I have an issue with uploading my documents or getting things submitted to get to the appointment. So I need you to manually do this for me. And so find out what it is that you're having problems with and what it is that where the rubber is not meeting the road so that we can get you one step closer to your counselor, okay? But definitely you are more than welcome to go to any of our NACA offices for sure. All right. Tammy, Damien, I'm going to tackle her with a phone call question if you don't have any right now.
I'm good.
Okay, so we have another call, and I know this area code, is 214, and we know what 214 is in Texas. That is the Dallas number. Dallas is saying, have a home, own the home in my name, need the rehab work done desperately. I know it would qualify for rehabilitation. However, I'm not sure I will qualify to get the home, to get the monthly payments. I'm only saving about $200 to $300 per month. I'm saving it steadily, but I'm not sure if that's enough to get all the rehab done.
Well, remember, if you're paying a mortgage payment, it would be the mortgage payment that you're paying every month plus the 200 some odd savings that you're making. Now, if you don't have a mortgage payment because it's paid in full, and I didn't hear that in the question, and you're only saving $200 a month, you're going to qualify for very little, probably not even more than $10,000, $15,000 worth of renovations. So the refinance rehab option has to fit within your affordability. There's a lot of people out there that need renovations to take place on a home, but they can't afford the payment that comes with it. You may now own a home that you just can't afford. And in that case, we may want to have you consult with a NACA in-house agent to see what would happen if you sold the home. Would you make more money to be able to buy something more affordable versus and livable that doesn't need repair? So having a one-stop shop with NACA is really beneficial to members that maybe own a home that's no longer affordable because they can't afford to do the repairs or they can't afford a refinance. But we won't really know until you start the counseling process. It's okay to spend some time through the homebuyer workshop and the counseling. If you don't need us and that was time wasted, it was really time well spent because you don't need us. If you need us and we can get you qualified, I would say take the investment of time, go to the homebuyer workshop, get some counseling, see what the qualification gets you. You may never know. If you don't try, you're not going to know, and you might qualify for more than you think. So I want to be encouraging in this area because this is NACA used to do refinance rehabs probably about almost 15 plus years ago, right? Yep. We had a lot of people take advantage of that product. We had so many people that didn't know about it, and then when it was gone, it was gone. So try it. Worst thing that's going to happen is you don't qualify. I'm sorry that time didn't work out for you, but nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Absolutely. Take a chance, see if that puts you where you, maybe $20,000 worth of repairs is all you need. And that's perfect. You'd only need like a 15-year note. Get that paid back in 15 years for $20,000. That's more than affordable. And depending on the term, we could expand it to 20 or 30, and maybe we could get you a little bit more money because we're expanding that for a longer period of time at the rate and at a payment that you can afford. So I really need to encourage you to just start the counseling process. And if you get stuck or the person that you're working with isn't sure, Call member services. Member services is there to get you connected to the right group. And if there's questions that come and need to follow from that, you can always get connected to the hand department where I can help you out there.
Absolutely. I'm gonna toggle because we're rounding it out here. But Trisha, I'm gonna get your question. Mac, you're asking a good one, and Layla, I'm gonna definitely get to you. But let me first get Trisha. Trisha is saying, "Good afternoon. Where in New York are NACA services?" And Trisha, we are in Buffalo, New York, on Delaware Avenue, and we are in Rochester, New York, on Main Street. And if you want to get closer to New York City, the closest office we have in New York City is going to be in our Newark location. And that's just right across the bridge or right across the water, so to speak. So we have a Newark, New Jersey office, and then we have our 2 New York offices, which is in Buffalo as well as Rochester. So I hope that answered your question. And moving on, I'm going to get to Mac. Mac is asking a good question. How do I get a list, Tammy, of the foreclosures in my area? And will I be able to do a foreclosed home? And I'm thinking she's talking about purchase and not rehab.
So we do foreclosed purchases all the time. We have members that are purchasing HUD properties, foreclosed VA properties, and just traditional conventional foreclosures. Now, for a list of foreclosures, you can send an email to red@naca.com and the real estate department. If a foreclosure list is available through our lender, Bank of America, they'll be happy to share that. It's sporadic. Sometimes there's properties on there where you live. Sometimes there's not. But send an email to red@naca.com. Red is real estate department. red@naca.com, and in the subject line, requesting foreclosure list. Let them know where you live or where you're looking to buy so that they can look up on what they have. And if there's any foreclosed properties in that area, they'll be happy to share them with you. That's all you need to do. But don't get excited if you think we have this big list of foreclosures, because we don't. Thankfully, NACA works very hard to help people save their homes in foreclosure. So people who contact us through Bank of America that want to save their home because they have some type of payment issue, we tend to not see a lot of foreclosures on that list for that reason. If the market gets worse, maybe it'll go up, but it's not something to count on. But by all means, see if something's available in your area.
Absolutely. Good answer. I love that. Layla is saying, I'm already going through NACA for myself. My sister and I, and this is going to be the question that many people, especially in the rural South, are going to ask. My sister and I inherited our parents' home that needs work. She has shown interest in moving into the home, but she owns her own house. What's the process?
So that ownership interest in another property would deem you to be ineligible. So she wants to buy this home, she wants to refinance this home and live in it. She's got to sell the other property. You cannot have ownership interest in a property if you're coming through the program for either refinance. But if you and your sister own this home together, the sister wants to keep her house, but you want to refinance rehab for your intent to live in the home. As long as your sister relinquishes her ownership interest and you're on the mortgage, you will become the new owner of the home. We could look at that as an option. But if she wants to do a refinance rehab for the purpose of living in the home, she'll need to sell the home that she owns.
And I can tell you right now, I'm not speaking for Layla. Layla, correct me if I'm wrong, but I can tell you right now, when you got siblings and you inherit a home, neither one are going to want to relinquish their rights. I have a brother, and if we
just buy him out. That's going to be the option.
That's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. But what you're saying is this question is going to come up quite often. So if siblings have a family property and they want to get it rehab, you're saying only one can, and they have to be a non-homeowner. They cannot own any other properties, and this house will have to be theirs solely.
Let me rephrase. The person that is going to be on that mortgage is going to be the legal owner of that home.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if you inherited a property with siblings, you're either buying them out to take full interest in it, or they're going to be on this mortgage with you.
I got you.
You're all going to be doing this together. Anyone on the mortgage cannot have ownership interest in the property. So we're going to look and counsel you on the options that are available to you. We have beautiful marriages that fall apart, right? And somebody gets the house in the divorce. If it's an inherited property, it's no different. You generally have to buy that person out. And we would be looking at those options as well.
Yeah, that's going to get sticky.
Yep.
Only in my household that would get sticky, but I'm not speaking for you, Layla, but that will get sticky, especially if everybody already owns a home and they're trying to hold on to the family property.
We're not going to do refinances to take a family-owned home and turn it into an Airbnb or rental property. We cannot use the product for that. It's in our contract with our lender.
Yeah, and they're not saying they're going to turn it into that, but that's the potential of what could happen, Layla.
Understood.
We're definitely not saying that's what the intent is, but remember, NACA is a mission-driven company, and it is for home ownership.
Owner-occupied.
Yes,
Owner-occupied.
Absolutely. Don't come up in here, coming back in here all late when you feel like it, and now you're trying to say owner-occupied. So, don't even start it. But we had a good question. I think it was Stephanie. Stephanie had a good question. Stephanie says, and hello to you, Stephanie. Stephanie said, I haven't been active in over 6 years. Went on my portal and a lot of information needs to be updated. Welcome back, Stephanie.
Yeah, welcome back.
New portal.
Yeah. And not sure if the same counselor is available. Probably not. Do I need to go into the office for updates so that I can restart the process? And I'm going to tell you, you don't have to go into the office to do that. The member portal has all of this beautiful artificial intelligence that if you go straight down the line and answer all the questions in the member portal, it'll do most of the work for you. But if you're like me and need that good one-on-one communication and that collaboration, you can definitely schedule some time to meet with the counselor and let them know, hey, you know what? I need to get back acclimated. I need some help here. You can also call 425-602-6222 and get acclimated as well. And they'll get you right back on track. You know, NACA, we're like that battered wife that you just keep coming back to. You treat us.
Oh, Jeanette. Come on, you. Listen, if you've been away 6 years, I'm going to recommend you go to another homebuyer workshop, because a lot has changed in 6 years. A lot has changed with our underwriting guidelines. A lot has changed with sort of the way you buy down the interest rate, right? Yeah. So who's priority and who's non-target. There's a lot of changes that have occurred in 6 years. I would say invest in a homebuyer workshop, even though you've already attended one. You don't need a new NACA ID because you have one. But that'll help you get started. And in that homebuyer workshop, they tell you how to use that new member portal so that you can get all your documents in there. And then once everything is up to date, you can schedule an appointment. You can't schedule an appointment until all your documents have been supplied. And I think our homebuyer workshop does a great job in teaching people how to use the new portal. So if you're unfamiliar with it, that's where I would start.
Plus, there's also a portal workshop out there as well.
Oh, great news. Great news. I didn't know about that.
So portal, hand workshops, we have them all. We cover the gambit. So, yeah, we have them all.
Okay, I want to ask Dana Gatlin's question. Dana is saying, hello, Dana. Michelle, I'm coming. Oh, wait. Yeah, it's the same thing. So she's saying, I'm a NACA member residing in Richmond, Virginia, and want to relocate to Atlanta, Georgia. Can I start the NACA process from Virginia to relocate in Atlanta?
The answer is yes, but.
Yes.
Right? So you have to be living in the city where you're going to buy your home for at least 6 months. We need to know that you know what it's going to cost to live there. Plus, we're looking at what you spend every month in this location. What do you spend in every month in that location? The cost of living is very different between Richmond, Virginia, and Georgia, right? So you can start the process and you can get to the point where you're ready to qualify. But until you move there and actually have employment there, because are you going to be changing jobs in the new location? You got to be in your job for a period of time to be able to get qualified. If you're just transferring with your current job, it might not take as long, and your counselor can help give you some guidance on how long it will take for you to be in the location where you want to purchase before you can become qualified, and that could be the difference. And some people want to just buy and move straight to that location. You can't do that with us. You need to be living in the city you want to purchase for a period of time, and it could be anywhere. I think the average is 6 months, if I'm not mistaken, Damien. You got to be living in less than.
It changed. He changed it.
What is it? Oh, go ahead.
He changed it.
And the new criteria is
what?
I'm trying to think how exactly it goes. It's not the 6 months anymore. They can move there.
I think it's 90 days minimum, up to 6 months. Again, these are questions you would ask in the home buyer workshop, and they'll give you the exact updated criteria. But you cannot just move to a new city, get qualified and move to a new city and buy at that time. You got to be in the city. You got to know what the city offers, how it's going to impact your budget. This is again about, are you purchasing in your affordable price range? Do you know what it's like to live and pay bills in one city versus your other city? I know I'm in San Antonio, Texas. If I go to Austin, Texas, my bills are going to substantially change. Everything's more expensive there. It's like moving from the valley up to San Francisco. Costs are more expensive. Housing, gas, the way you get to places, groceries. So very important. Just start the home buyer workshop and ask those questions during that workshop. They should be able to give you the exact information. And I believe the underwriting guidelines are online, so you can see it in the underwriting guidelines as well.
Absolutely. And applesauce for all of your resources, any resources, worksheets, budget worksheets, qualification workbook, everything you need is on the www.naca.com, and look under resources, and you will see everything you need. You can download all the information right there. Don't forget our handy dandy number, 425-602-6222. And to reach out to Tammy, you're going to press option 5, and that's going to get you to her department, which is the hand department. So check us out and lock us down. And Damien, the old clock on the wall, say it's time to go. Tammy, as always, is never enough time with you. Never, ever.
Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate everybody's time today, and look forward to the next one.
Yep, we thank you for your time. You guys stay safe, stay warm, be blessed, enjoy your day.
Thanks for listening. NACA's American Dream Program is a production of the Neighborhood Assistance Corporation of America, a national nonprofit organization fighting for economic justice through affordable homeownership and community advocacy. To learn more about NACA and our advocacy efforts, careers, NACA's Best in America Mortgage, or to join a NACA in your community, visit us at NACA.com.